This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 13th of March 2019, and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. DPP gets 4.8 billion shilling prisons fraud files. Daily Nation, gloves off as Ruto allies take on Uhuru. And finally, The Standard, shock for men with children out of wedlock. What do you think?
Okay, I think
we're back to regular programming.
Yeah.
Corruption is on the table. DPP gets 4.8 billion.
Let's start with the star.
Prisons fraud files. I think this was mentioned in passing in a previous headline, I think last week.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a continuing story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're saying they've now found the files.
But you see, that's my problem initially with this headline. I
Yeah.
think it's misleading and it's misrepresentative of the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are making us think that the money has
actually been paid.
It's already gone.
Yes.
Yeah,
When
so
in
we've
fact-
lost 4.8
When in
billion
fact the
shillings.
EACC caught this fraud before
Yes.
it happened.
So are you saying this is a more positive story and should have been represented as a positive story?
I think they should have found a way to strike that balance. I think it's a bit too much to go to the positive, but I think this extreme of the negative is also misleading.
Guys, you know what? You know, I have a feeling EACC, DPP, DCI, running to the media, are behaving like there will be a prize-giving day for the guy who fights corruption the best.
This has been your thesis for quite a while,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I buy it,
Yeah.
but I am going to ask this question.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we'll address it further in our cartoon today, but I have a question. Why is every corrupt person being caught?
From a
Kalenjin?
specific
I'm just
community.
asking. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
asking.
know that there's
Because
a trend.
There's a trend. There's a trend, and that trend is repeated here. They've said that the PS who signed for the tender,
Yeah.
who now is in a different ministry, I think
Yes.
he's in
Yeah.
education,
Yeah.
chariot. Someone needs to answer that question. I don't know. And is it related to our second headline?
Yes.
Gloves off as Ruto allies take on Uhuru. Politics played in the sidelines.
Oh, yes.
And I think we are seeing some politics at play here. So how can we interpret that?
If you hear the sentiments of the politicians in Rift Valley taking on Uhuru, they are closing in on the narrative that Kalenjins are being targeted in the war against corruption, right? And this is what we've always been saying. If you continue with that narrative, this thing could boomerang on boss.
But I do agree with the sentiment for this reason.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We all know about the pact. It's
Yeah.
been 1 year on.
Yeah.
But the one thing we know it happened, but
Yeah.
we don't know what it is.
We don't know what
the
the
pact
agreement,
itself
what it entails.
is very vague, very
Yeah.
ambiguous. And as a lawyer, I have to say that ambiguity and vagueness is just good room for mischief.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you cannot blame them for reading that ambiguity as mischief.
Yes.
They have an almost 10-year-old agreement that
Yeah.
precedes the handshake. They're saying that agreement is not being upheld to the standard that they would like.
Yeah.
They're seeing another agreement that's superseding it.
Yes.
And this agreement
Yeah.
is the one that is, if I could call it, the favorite at the moment.
Right.
You have another person
Yeah.
who is sharing some sort of executive authority with no basis for that executive authority.
Yeah.
And yet you want us to believe that all is well.
It's not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks
true.
like.
And that's what has been led to believe. But let me ask you guys,
Yeah.
to what end? So the gloves come off,
Yeah.
they go to funerals,
Yeah.
they say things about each other, but where is this going to go?
That's a good question. And maybe, is it the end of Jubilee? Do you think Ruto will have another party?
Let me ground us, please. Before we enter the realm of true speculation, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is the headline topical or is it speculative?
Yeah.
Is the headline repetitive or is it groundbreaking? And
Yeah.
finally, is the headline thoughtful or is it just plain lazy? So let's talk about these headlines.
Yeah, for me, the star, I think that It is not groundbreaking because
Okay.
I think they could have taken a different angle.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, could have given us more
Yes.
information. They tell
Yes.
us why they think that
Yeah.
why the payments were stopped,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the companies were fraudulent, they didn't
Yeah.
have valid PIN certificates.
Right.
Also, they say that the items that were being procured were overpriced.
Yes, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the DPP has not come back to say if they're going to court or not. So,
Yeah.
continuing story.
The truth of the matter
Wait.
is, the headlines are not telling us anything new.
Not at all. And I
So-
think, as a fifth estate, we try to be positive and Afrocentric. I think
Yeah.
this is a very negative headline.
What do we
So,
say?
We trash.
I think we just
Yes.
trash it.
Daily Nation, gloves off as Ruto allies take on Uhuru.
Mm.
The politics of sidelines, politics of funerals, the politics of...
Doesn't this harken back to the cartoon of yesterday?
Oh, yes.
Gado, right? Of
Oh,
them
yes.
in the
The-
boxing
in the
ring.
boxing ring.
Gloves off.
And they're
That
naked.
is so true.
But now it's a different person. I mean, now Raila has been taken out and Uhuru has been placed in.
Yes.
Well, it's a proxy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
now-
and
and
that's
that's a
very true.
Ruto proxy.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I guess. But let's speak about this, then we can determine. So what do we say about this? Do we keep it?
Nothing new, my dear.
Yeah, nothing new.
So
I mean,
then,
we already know. We toss it.
We toss.
toss it.
Goodbye.
I cannot believe we remained with this odd headline, the Standard. Shock for men with children out of wedlock.
So, Biscay, what is the story about?
Judge,
Yes.
I think it was of the High Court,
Yes.
declared certain sections of the Children's Act, the Succession Act, and I think also registration and birth certificate regulations of
believe
the
so,
Act
yeah.
itself
Yes.
unconstitutional because it gave men the leeway to determine whether or not they wanted to accept paternity
Yes.
for children that they sired
Yes.
or maybe
Out of-
didn't sired,
Yeah.
but the whole point is that these children were sired out of wedlock.
Do you know, I think this headline has some ramifications, especially on inheritance.
Oh, it always had ramifications on inheritance because the law that he invalidated
Yeah.
claimed that
So before.
before what
Yes.
he invalidated claimed
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
a child, so my child, automatically inherits from my estate as
Yes.
the mother.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if the father had never expressly acknowledged that child
Yes.
or was involved in their upbringing,
Yeah.
then you could not inherit.
They can
Yes.
say that's not.
Yeah, they
That's
could
not
say-
my story.
Those
That's
are
not my
not,
child.
those are not grounds for inheritance.
Yes.
But yeah, whether or not that was your father.
Yes.
So you could be the father, it could be the striking image of you, but because you'd never acknowledged me,
Yeah.
you could never claim.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
you didn't have to be on my birth certificate. You
Yeah.
could say that you didn't have to
Okay.
be on it. And
Yeah.
then also, I as a mother,
Yeah.
if I had a child born out of wedlock, I could have that child adopted without the father's consent.
But now, it is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
What the judge said, and I agree with him, is that
You-
parental responsibility is shared
Yeah.
between mothers and fathers, and you cannot opt out.
Okay,
You
okay.
cannot opt out.
Now let
of
me ask you a question,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
Hypothetically
boy.
speaking,
Okay.
right? Let's assume you and I have a child,
Okay.
right?
We are assuming.
We are assuming.
Dear husband, we are assuming.
Yes. And then I go and marry June,
Okay.
yeah? And I
Yes.
get children with June,
Yes.
right?
So our child was born out of wedlock,
Out of wedlock.
and you have your children with June who were born
Yes.
in wedlock.
Yes, right? Then you go and get another man.
Yes.
Now you go and marry another man.
Yes.
Right? And then the good Lord smiles on me and blesses
You're
me
blessed.
with wealth and
Yes.
riches.
Yes.
Right?
So now Tuam
The-
is saying, can
the-
that child?
No,
Come and
I
inherit.
haven't even gone to the maximum, eh?
Uh-huh.
And
Okay,
then
get
you-
to the maximum quickly.
And then you come and tell me you suspend your consent. You give me consent. You're asking for consent for the person you have married
Yeah, to adopt the child.
To adopt
the
our child.
Yeah.
as the father.
Okay.
Yes.
Right? And I sign a piece of paper
Yes.
acknowledging that.
Yes.
Now, should anything happen to me and I have a will,
Yes.
will your child come to my family
And claim
ask
money?
for inheritance?
Did you ever acknowledge this child as your own? Did you ever pay for their upbringing?
And I think
signed a piece of paper.
Tuam, I think the distinction is here.
Yeah.
Previously,
Yeah.
the child could not have come to you
Yes.
and said, "You are my father, even though I did not know you.
In fact,
I want you."
I didn't even need to go to him to have my new baby daddy, inherit the child, adopt the child. I didn't need to ask for your
But no,
permission.
the point I'm making is previously
Yeah.
the child could have come to you and
Yes.
said, "I want your money," and the court would have said no. You did not recognize this child.
Mm.
The new law now says that the child can come, and equally mother and father are responsible for this child.
But she has a person who is the figure of the father.
Well, now it's up to you to determine. If you want to
Yeah.
give your child money,
Yeah.
this child that I have with you have signed away your
Let's assume I've
responsibility.
refused that.
Okay, I think right now we're also speaking speculatively, because we do not know what the court is going to do next.
Right.
Okay, but what we can say is, if this law is applied retrospectively,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I really don't know what's going
There
to
are
happen.
gonna be
There
many
may be so
children.
many cases in court.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a winning headline.
I do think, though, that this is a groundbreaking headline.
I also
I
think
do
so as
agree.
well.
For the
I
male,
do
for the
agree.
male gender.
I
For
think
the
so as well.
female.
For them, imagine, do you know how many men are going to see this headline and start worrying?
How many women are going to see this headline and go to court?
What if the mother is one who was rich?
It doesn't matter. You
No,
want
the
to
same
inherit
applies.
from me. No, in fact, it was automatic inheritance.
Yeah,
whether or
that's
not I
true.
acknowledged you.
This is a groundbreaking headline.
Okay, then because it's groundbreaking, do we keep it?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Guys, come on. You already
Okay,
said
we
this.
can do a vote. We can do a vote.
I don't think it's a winning headline. I just
Yeah, I
think
don't
it's a
think so
groundbreaking
either.
story.
Yeah. Is this the state of our country? My dear goodness. All right, we toss it.
Toss it, sorry. On to our next segment, the political opinions we call cartoons in this country. And just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, is it humorous
Yeah.
or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the cartoons.
Can
see
I
you have
suggest
the
we start with the
standard.
standard, because I think it's a regional story, and then we
Yes.
can come back home.
Yes,
Yes.
and I see it's Gado. Gado does take a regional perspective.
Yes.
I do think it's funny though.
I
Oh,
find
yes,
this
it
very
is.
funny and very clever of Gado. Gado has really upped his game. It's a caricature of the president of Tanzania, Pombe Magufuli, President Magufuli. And he's speaking, I don't know who he's speaking to, but they seem like central bank guys. And in the back is a huge note, 10,000 Tanzanian shilling note. And they are saying,
One guy says,
we believe that this will improve the value of the shilling. And Magufuli is like, this is
Thinking
like,
about
oh,
it.
wow.
And
And the guy
stabilize
says,
the
and stabilize the economy. Now,
Context.
let me
Please
just
give us context.
give our viewers context. The Tanzanian central bank has banned central bank, forex bureaus from distributing foreign currency. And they have said that foreign currency will be distributed using
the post office only.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, that is in essence saying private sector will no longer handle foreign currency. It will revert back to the state. Now, they are also asking him in this cartoon,
Should we change the
should we-
image
should
on
we-
the note?
On the note, should we remove the elephant?
So currently, I
and
believe
put
they
here-
have the elephant, and
Yes.
now, yeah, the suggestion of changing it to Magufuli's face.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Junior was saying that this is not an awkward thing that they have done. It is done
No,
in
I
other
don't.
countries.
Yeah, I think in quite a few European countries, it's very standard for foreign currency to be transacted through post offices,
But for what reason?
which are an arm of the state, and it's for the controlling how much money is being moved, but also knowing where it's coming, where it's going from. So I don't think that's abnormal.
see, let me tell you.
Especially when you think about the countries that do that,
Yeah.
Italy and France, which are pseudo-socialist countries, and we know that is the same of Tanzania.
Yeah.
So it's not.
But let me tell you, even here, the central bank will always know how much dollars is floating in the economy.
But
even
it's a tightening of control.
But what I do think is that this cartoon is funny because it's implying that
Yeah.
the stabilization of the currency, which reports have said is under threat,
Will be fixed
by
Yeah.
his image on the.
But why does Gado draw his head to look like this?
I don't know, but I think it's funny. But before we make a judgment, I think we look at the other cartoons. I'm holding the star, so
Yes.
let's see this. Oh,
Oh, this was instantly my favorite today.
It's fantastic. And this was lost to observers this past week. Uhuru Kenyatta flew to Kigali, Rwanda, and then flew to Entebbe to meet Kagame and to meet Museveni. Now, for those that don't know, Kagame and Uganda and Rwanda are having a bit of tensions. And he flew there some sort of shuttle diplomacy, I don't know. But the context of this is
this is what he offered
there's some
by way of solution.
there's some setup called handshake
Handshake potion.
handshake potion, and they're all lining up, but they're lining up while scuffling.
Yes,
And he
right.
tells them, this has worked brilliantly
in Kenya.
quote unquote, and the brilliant
Right.
is in quotes.
Yes.
I have to say that this is hilarious.
It is, it's
very
fantastic.
funny.
Yes.
And handshake potion as the be all and end all to any problems that you may have. Just have a handshake, it'll fix it.
It will fix
the
it.
salve that
Absolutely.
works on everything.
But you know what I realize is,
Yeah.
what does medicine do? It fixes the symptoms,
But
it
not-
doesn't deal with the actual problem.
Which I think
The
is also
core.
implied here.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this handshake medicine, this potion, it'll
Yeah.
fix those things at the surface, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna solve everything.
But I
No,
still
I
like it.
like-
It's
I like-
funny.
No,
I
it's
like-
funny. Oh, it's
really
fantastic.
I like
Okay, so
Ndula.
I think we can keep this against that cartoon. But wait first, we have one more. One
Daily
more.
Nation.
Yeah.
And I think this Daily Nation one
It
goes,
goes back
to
the headline story that we've
headlines,
had.
Yeah. It goes back to the question that you asked.
Okay, it goes back to the question that I asked because,
Yeah.
and I think my question was inspired after I saw this cartoon
Yeah.
where you have the train called the Worn Graft. Is this SGR?
Oh gosh.
No, this
No.
Oh no,
Just
it looks like
I'm
this.
just asking. It looks like SGR. It has the colors, the shape.
Headed
I don't know.
towards?
Headed towards this stone
it's a
barrier,
Pile
like
of
it's
rocks,
a barrier,
yeah.
a pile of rocks. And it's not stopping, by the way. This train
Yeah.
looks like it's going
Full
full
steam.
steam ahead,
Yes,
and
yeah.
the steam is going up. And these rocks are called our man syndrome. And the implication is that it's a collision course.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a collision course
gonna-
for the war of on graft,
end badly.
and it's going to end badly and be stopped by this thing called our man syndrome.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we say about this? I feel like it's.
I think Monene today has tried. We've always
Yeah.
been bashing him.
It's true, but
Yeah.
even though it's a little bit obvious, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
Is it effective? Let's ask ourselves a question. Is it humorous? No, I don't think it's humorous. In fact, it's very pessimistic.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Not think much about it.
Yeah, but I think in relation to the headlines, very important.
But
Because I think if we look back at your question, you asked us.
no, I asked the
about-
question. I feel once you read the paper and then you look at the cartoons,
Yeah.
I sit at this table having assimilated all of that information. The question was begged.
So my question is: this particular community that we are talking about,
Yes.
are the leaders running and hiding behind tribalism and using it as an excuse, saying it is because I am this tribe that you are attacking me, or should these leaders, carry their own cross, as I believe?
I don't know
Raila
if it's
said?
an individual problem. It's still there's still a question to be begged.
Yeah.
But if it's a community target, it's a
And
target
it
of a
is. You
particular
have to admit that
community.
it's very curious.
I don't know. Causation
You guys are being shy today.
Correlation.
and correlation. I think we have to.
All right, so we toss.
We toss.
Okay.
So let's bring back
We
Gado
just- yes.
and we make a
Yes.
determination of.
Do we even have to
These
discuss
two.
it? I think
I don't
Ndula
know.
has one for me.
Well, I agree with you. I do find this more funny. I love the handshake potion.
No, I like Gado is
This is very
seemingly
intellectual.
has become
Very,
very
This
intelligent.
is very
smart.
smart.
Very,
He's not
very, very
become. I
smart.
think he's always
He always has
been.
He's always
yeah.
been.
Yeah, so I think this is very intellectual, very intelligent.
Yeah.
But you need to understand the context to get it.
That's
Yes.
very true.
You
Yeah.
Yes.
need, this is
Which is
to
a bit-
an
which is a bit
audience.
limiting, yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it's limiting. So not everyone
Absolutely.
can understand this
Yes.
and get the context, understand that the economy is on the rocks,
Yeah.
that they're trying to hide that fact and that they're trying to give a solution by saying that,
That
if
this,
Magufuli just did this.
the state should
fine.
extend
So
itself.
maybe in a change of tact, maybe
Yeah.
we should call this our winning headline
Yeah.
as a way to encourage people to read more
Absolutely.
and understand more. I mean, this is very
What is our
obvious.
duty?
Our
Our
du-
duty
I
is to
think our
determine which
duty
is our
is to
winning
ensure
headline,
that
not
we
to
have-
ensure that we educate the public.
No, I think part of our duty is to ensure that we have an informed public, an informed citizenship. So
Yes. And I tell you what, many guys will not understand this cartoon.
yeah,
Many people will not.
maybe
But
as a call to action.
yes.
We cannot be the holders of information. We want people to read more.
Say yes.
I'm being coerced. I shall agree to your coercion. Although we shall say that this is a strong runner-up.
Very strong runner-up.
Strong runner-up.
Yep.
Our winning headline today is Gado from the Standard, and a strong runner-up
Yes.
Yeah.
is the Star.
Victor
Victor
Ndula.
Ndula from
Yeah.
the Star.
Fantastic.
And there you have it. This is Winning Headlines. See you tomorrow.